And the public machine said, wait a couple of minutes and take your blood pressure again. If the reading is still at or above that level, you should seek immediate emergency medical treatment. Or if you are having any of the following symptoms: chest pain, shortness of breath, back pain, numbness, weakness, change in vision, difficulty speaking, do not wait to see if your blood pressure decreases on its own. Seek emergency medical assistance immediately.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
This sculpted narrative goes out to all the giants upon whose shoulders I stand. If I can see further, it is only because of their storied vision. Let me begin with Richard Feynman. Richard Feynman.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome, neighbors, to another episode of Spread Love FM. I am your host, Trev. Thank you, neighbors, for joining me today. I always appreciate it when you spend time with me. Hopefully, you will take something of value away. On today's show, we have our anniversary special. It's been a year this month since we launched the first episode of Spread Love FM. I never got into the motivation behind this show, Spread Love FM, except for that very first episode where I interviewed a good friend of mine, Nunnie Jordan, who went through some hard times, sometimes dealing with health issues, and we're going to review that episode again because it's really pertinent to why I started the series Spread Love FM, because I went through my own issues very similar to Nani. So we're going to replay that episode. I'm going to sit back and watch it along with you, comment every now and then, and hopefully you will be able to take something of value away. But before we get started, let's jump into the announcements. So we have our free shopping at Miguel's Latin Market. Meet us at Miguel's if you live in the Spring Hill area. Go to spreadlovefm.com, place your free order, pick up your groceries, pick up your lunches, and hopefully you can invite a neighbor along with you. We have a new initiative, Pay It Forward. We invite you to connect with each other remotely or reserve a free lunch for two at Miguel's Latin Market. And you can also introduce your business to our community of free shoppers. Big discounts from local shops coming soon. So scan the code or head on over to spreadlovefm.com and join us. Pay it forward, meet a neighbor. It's all about hello neighbor, let's have lunch. So let's get into the show. I want to actually begin with reading something that I would like to share with you, some words that I think are inspirational. Maybe you will find them inspirational, maybe not. But I'm going to jump right into it. And it goes, I know this man, he's got nothing to do but save the souls of people like me and you. He walks this earth speaking the truth, just a man with nothing to do. This man owns nothing, yet the world is his home. He has no wife, no kids, yet to him we belong. He judges no man, yet you sense when you're wrong. He's a man of few words, but he wrote me this song. This man was hated for the love that he shared. This man was persecuted by the ones whom he cared. He held no resentment, instead our pain he bared. We tried to take his life, yet our own lives he spared. This man has gone as fast as he came, this man so kind, so loving, but I didn't get his name. He gave me so much, I feel I owe him the same. Then it dawned on me that this was his aim. So now I am a man with nothing to do, but share the love from him, hoping you share it too. But walk the earth he walked, sharing the same truth. Yes, I am now this man with nothing to do. Now I own nothing, yet this world is my home. I have no wife, no kids, yet to this world I belong. Through his actions, I now know right from wrong. Now I'm the nameless one, spreading love through this song. So, onto the show. So, this podcast, Spread Love FM. It's been a year since we launched the podcast, and I never really got into the story of the launch, and again, except for the first episode, which we will be replaying in a minute. But before I get started, I really want to go into uh, the story behind the podcast itself. Well, it actually, we need to go back to January 10th of 2022 when I left New York to head down to Florida. And because I was coming to see my parents who were elderly, I wanted to make sure that I was COVID free. And I went to a clinic to take the free test. And as I was sitting in the waiting room to get to take my test, they took my blood pressure and they called me to the back and they said, um, "Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling dizzy?" Asking me these questions. I'm like, "What? Why?" And they told me that my blood pressure is so high that I should not be standing up. And you mean I didn't really know. I wasn't educated on what high blood pressure is, how it's caused, any of that stuff. I didn't even know what a high number was. But I as I was walking they brought me to a back room. All of the staff there was looking at me like I was literally the walking dead. And I told them they told me that I should go to the doctor immediately. I should check in, make sure I shouldn't do anything. Um, but I told them I was literally leaving that day to drive down to Florida, and I knew I had to go. But now I was overcome with this idea of will I even make the trip? And that's the fear that they struck in my heart. And so I went because I knew I had to go. I just had to go. My test was negative. I was fine to go on that front, but um, yeah, they told me okay. I told them I had to go. They said okay, go. But when you get down to Florida, first of all, you need to buy a monitor, self monitor. They gave me a link where I could do that, and they told me I need to check with somebody as soon as I can. Big part of the reason why I was also hesitant is because I had no insurance at the time, and this is a big reason probably why it got that bad in the first place. Not taking checkups, and because I had no insurance. Anyway, so I got down to Florida, made the trip, thankfully, and then I went to a Publix where they had a public monitor, and I took the test. And if you could see here, the message was literally warning about your blood pressure reading. Wait a couple of minutes. It was 210 over 135, just so you know. The last one, the first one that I read in New York was 196 over 140. But in Publix, it's 210 over 135. And the public machine said, wait a couple of minutes and take your blood pressure again. If the reading is still at or above that level, you should seek immediate emergency medical treatment. Or if you are having any of the following symptoms: chest pain, shortness of breath, back pain, numbness, weakness, change in vision, difficulty speaking, do not wait to see if your blood pressure decreases on its own. Seek emergency medical assistance immediately. So this is what they were basically telling me when I was in New York, that I was like, okay, didn't realize the seriousness of the situation. But here it is again, another machine. In New York, I was like, okay, maybe it's, not so serious. Um, but here it is telling me that basically, what are you doing? Why are you still standing? This is critical. So, needless to say, well, so because of this, it's actually went on for still no insurance. So I didn't really think I could didn't want to check into a hospital. I know I couldn't afford it. I didn't have insurance. It's a world out there that I just didn't want to deal with. Big mistake. So I did have a monitor that I would check at home, and the readings were always high. Sometimes it would go off the chart. Um, Still, not wanting to check myself into the hospital. I did have the sense of my own mortality. And there was one particular night, wasn't quite a panic attack, but it was this feeling of dread. At the same time, a feeling of peace. If I only had a year to live, and there was one thing I could do, what would be that thing? And two things came to mind, which is to spread love, hence the name of the show, and to spread love through music, which is probably my number one passion, listening to music. And having a little bit of experience in podcasts, publishing a couple of episodes a few years earlier, nothing consistent, but knowing that this is a platform that allows one to express oneself, express one's joy, I thought, let me launch a podcast and let me name this podcast Spread Love, and change from our name of the Freedom Market and take those initials, Freedom Market FM, and let's call it Spread Love FM, which also sounds like a radio station. And it was that same day, the same night actually, was around 11:30 at night, where I took this cover photo that I've been using ever since, and that's it without the effects that I've applied later on, without the editing. And there's the chalkboard that I brought with me from Brooklyn, and there it is, Spread Love. What I did this night is just played music and spoke, and it was, it was my first night. Um, After I put this together, I had some equipment sent down to me, and I recorded an episode, which was not so good. It was kind of me just kind of talking, trying to get used to the feel. I had a friend of mine send me all of this equipment that you see here. Is a fellow activist from New York who sent me all of this equipment, and I had everything kind of ready to go. But it was only 5 days later, on a Sunday, when I really started to feel not quite well, really feeling like something's really wrong in my head. Started feeling dizzy. I can't really explain it. It was more like a rush and then dizzy at the same time. And I I went to my brother, and I said, call the ambulance. I don't think I feel all right. They came and they read my blood pressure, and they said, your blood pressure is really high, and we recommend that you come with us to the ER. And me, again, hesitant, not having the insurance, I was still, even here, still hesitant to go. And they said, okay, it's up to you, but we can pretty much guarantee you that if you don't go to the hospital, that you will eventually have a stroke. And that was really the word that made me say, okay, I've got to go. Health insurance or not, I've got to go. And I went. And that's me there, hooked up to a bunch of monitors. And while I sat in the hospital, they did all these tests to make sure to see what damage has been done by my blood pressure. Now, all of this I didn't know. I didn't know that this is the result of having high blood pressure, that it damages your internal organs. They checked my heart. Heart checked out okay, thankfully. Um, Checked some other vitals. But then when they checked my kidneys, the kidney specialist came in and said that your kidneys are failing. He said, and I don't want to go into the details, but basically, at the time they were functioning at about 50%. He said your kidneys are functioning at about 50%, and that news hit me like a ton of bricks. And not only were they functioning at 50%, but they were dropping rapidly. From the day he told me, uh, it's dropped maybe 10 points. If it dropped another 10 points, so this is the results I got the second or third day I was in the hospital. And the next day it was down another 10 points. If that continued at that rate for one more day, they would have either had to replace my kidneys or I would have to go on dialysis. And I just could not believe what I was hearing. So I told my family, some people, my sister, and I told her not to share it with too many people. I told my brother, I told my father, and said like, listen, this is bad. If this doesn't stop, and they were doing whatever they could to stabilize my pressure. I think that is what was doing it in real time. And my sister went back. She was a part of a prayer group that I am now a part of. And I told her not to tell anybody, but against my will, she shared it with this prayer group, which consists of my cousins, my sister, and it's a bunch of them. And they've been meeting online for 3 years now, every morning, weekday morning. And she said I had to tell them. My sister visited me while I was in this state of having the potential loss of my kidneys, and she told them, she came in and said, I told the prayer group and we prayed for you. And I couldn't really blame her. That's almost like not even a issue. I would just want to make sure everything would be hope for the best, and prayers, of course, accept the prayers. And she also said that if I need a kidney, she will give me hers. Bless her. She and her husband would give me theirs. And well, the next day, they would come in every morning and take my blood, draw my blood to see where I am with the kidneys, and if this next reading was the key one, was the important one. And if it dropped at the same rate that it had been dropping the previous 2 days, then my life would have changed in a dramatic way. But thankfully, the prayers were heard, and my blood pressure and my kidney function stabilized. And I was thankful. And I am now here. Yes, my kidneys are functioning at half of their strength, and will be on medication for the rest of my life. And there's severe diet limitations, and my life has changed, but it did not change to the extent that it could have changed. Thanks to prayers. Thanks for someone out there looking out for me. Thanks for someone telling me to go in the ER the day before, 1 day later, and it would have been a different me. So the next days, as I sat in the hospital, still recovering, I spent about a week total. So I was there for another few days as they still tried to find the right medication for me that I would be on for the remainder of my days. I'm fighting hard to get off of it, actually. But sitting there in the hospital, knowing that I had this podcast that was inspired by my mortality, I remembered a story from a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, who had shared that he was in the hospital because of a stroke. And I kind of put two and two together to realize that it was probably due to a similar issue um, with high blood pressure. And I reached out to him and I found out that, and I asked him, does he mind being the first guest on Spread Love FM, the podcast? And he said yes. So I would like to replay that episode now. I will sit here and watch it again for the first time in over a year because, yeah, it's an inspiring story from my friend. His name is Nunnie, and it's something that we can all learn to appreciate life, to take care of our bodies. This body is God's temple. We have to take care of it to the best of our ability. And lesson learned, lesson learned. 50 plus years of me thinking that I can do what I wish with that body, but you can't. You can't. So here's the podcast from Nunnie. I actually want to share a few things about this podcast that in the 1 year we have about 50. This is going to be the 52nd podcast recording for Spread Love FM that I've done. It's changed names a few times. And out of those 53 episodes, there's only about, I think, more than half, 19 or 20 of them are still published. The rest were unpublished because I look back at them and either they were not consistent with the theme that we're doing now, or they were just so bad. So it took a lot of time, and I heard that when I started. It takes time to find your voice, to find your rhythm, and this is a testament to that. It's 53 episodes in, and this is recording like once or twice, sometimes 3 times a week. Um, 3 episodes, 3, 4, 5 episodes a month. It's for a full year. And I'm this recording here. This podcast is actually unpublished because it kind of went away from the theme. The intro was different. The whole vibe was different. I actually, another bit of information. When we first started these podcasts, they were live. So it was a live Zoom recording and I had music, and it was a whole DJ thing. The Spread Love FM was the first 20 minutes was supposed to be just listening to music. And that was a terrible idea. But it just goes to show how much things can change. The video quality was different. A lot of the stuff is still the same. The background you will see is the same. But anyway, without going into it, let me share this episode. I'm gonna watch it along with you guys, and I'll be as surprised as you are. And yeah, hopefully that there's something of value in Nunnie's message, in the production, is something that's there that you could take away. And yeah, let's watch it. Without further ado, here we go. Episode 1 of Spread Love FM. If you want to put yourself on camera, that's good. This is going to be recorded for a later podcast, but it'd be good to see your face. If you got nothing hiding in the background. Nunnie, what's up? How you been, man? It's been a while.
Oh man, it's been too long. I've been good, man. Just been working, just been doing some new deals and just, enjoying my life,
So when's the last time that we ran into each other? I think it must have been in 2014, 15, somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
it's been a while. It's been too long.
Man. And what you've been doing since then? Like, what's the one thing that I have been following is Everyday People.
Yes. Shout out to me.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Pretty much, I've been with Everyday People for a really long time, you know, since the beginning of time. Joking. I've been with them for about 9 years now, and it's a great party for, you know, like-minded individuals, especially young Black entrepreneurs and young Black people as a whole. And if we travel around the world, give this party to everybody. So, you know, our base is in New York, but also we're in LA, Miami, um, Africa.
Wow.
We're in London. We was in London 3 times this year. We're going back to Africa in December. We be in Miami and we be in Atlanta and Miami next 2 weeks, and then we be in Miami in December, and we might do some other things. Can't give you everything. Just giving you little by little, you know.
How did
But
you
it is considered one of the best parties in the world, though.
How did you connect with them?
Yeah, the story of how I got to Everyday People is probably the most ballerest thing I've ever did in my life. So I've been trying to go there. I went to the very first one, and it was at the Riverton Hotel. I went to another one, and then they moved the brunch to another area where it was a party. Then they moved the whole brunch as an entire thing because it used to be a brunch, and then they moved the brunch to the DL. And at the time I was promoting parties at the DL on Wednesdays, so I knew the guards, I knew the manager, so I knew I could walk in easy. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not easy. So I said, yo, I see they have no video. I'm gonna go
What year
there.
was this?
2012, 2013.
Wow.
I'm gonna say 2013.
Wow.
I feel like it was 2012, but it was 2013. And because of that, you know, I went in there very confident. I knew Sada. Sada is one of the co-founders and creators of Everyday People. So I knew her. I didn't know Moma and Roble at the time. So I did the video and I sent it to a few people. I sent it to Street Etiquette, you know, shout out to that crew.
Street Etiquette. I forgot about those guys.
Oh yeah, they're doing well. And also Camacho, shout out to Sherry Camacho. Sada, I sent it to those 3 people. And Kitty Cash, also shout out to DJ Kitty Cash. Send it to those people because I put them in the video. They loved it and they put it on their platforms, and then they sent it to Moma and Roble. Roble didn't say like, yo, I'm gonna call you. I was like, you don't have my number. He says, well, give me your number. We spoke, and then from then I've been with the team since ever then. Then they hired me to do another video. And then after they hired me, I was going like constantly. And then, you know, things changed in 2016, I'll tell you that.
In what way?
You know, Instagram, they started doing videos for like a minute. You know what I'm saying? Because of, what was it? Vine was 6 seconds. So they was like, well, we're going to do 15 to a minute. So when they started doing the minute, it was like, you know, I spoke to Mo for a few hours and he was like, well, we want you to be on. We want you to, you know, really, we want to do more videos. So instead of us doing like maybe 3, 4 in a year, we're going to start doing 16 to 25.
Wow.
And then it only went up and up. I think the most we did in a year was like 50, 55, 60.
Man.
That was 2019. I think this year we're doing like 40 right now.
That's almost one. That's pretty much one a week.
Yeah. But we take a lot of time. We take January off because ain't nobody trying to party in January. We take February, but I don't know what it's going to be next year. But, you know, this year was like we started in April in LA, which was a great party. We had, I think Sweetie was there, Janelle Monáe, Diddy was there. I was there.
Wow.
You know, can't forget that I was there.
You were there.
I was there.
That's the key
That's
right
the
there.
major key right there. So after all that, we've just been really having a good year. It's just been a good year overall from being in London and LA. And we did LA 5 times. We did London 3. We did Miami a bunch. I mean, not Miami, New York a bunch of times. We're going to do Miami twice, Africa twice. So it's just overall just been a great year for all of us, you know?
So I tell you, that's a videographer's dream. It almost doesn't matter if you get paid or not to travel. I remember when I first started and I was just shooting for the fun of it, and I got my first travel gig, and that was a big deal. Tell me about, I mean, you've been places that I could only dream of going. Africa.
I think people have to understand this one thing. I helped build something for my people. That's the importance to me, is that I helped build this. You know, I had a part in something to me that's going to be in history. maybe not everybody's history, but in party history and day party history, I'm a part of that now. As a team and conglomerate, I don't mind being considered everyday people as a team instead of just me individually. So that's a good thing. But the traveling, oh man, chef kiss. Once we got it together though, because when you're in the midst of traveling, you got to like fly out 10 to 12 people, and that costs.
Yeah.
So sometimes with some people, they like to be flown by certain airlines, and people have their preferences. You got to respect it. Everything is respected. That's the key to traveling for me. Just
So let's get.
respect.
So let's rewind it a bit
Okay.
to where you started. Like, why did you initially get into videography? You are you a photographer as well? I keep.
I
Pumping
mean,
it up.
I can shoot photography, and I consider myself one. So I would say I am when I need to be. So
But
when things are lined up in the right way, and I feel comfortable enough to do it,
yeah.
I'll do that. I'll do it. I'll do it like a mug. Like I have no problem shooting.
So when did you start? When did you first pick up a camera?
Okay,
And
so I'm gonna keep it brief, but I'm gonna keep it long. I'm sorry. I got into film by pure accident. I promise you. So I was in high school, and after I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I know I didn't want to do liberal arts. I know that. So I was like, well, I guess I'll take a gap year or whatever. So I'm just running the streets, living in Far Rockaway, Queens. Shout out to Far Rockaway. Um, my boy D Gabe comes back. We in a chicken spot, just eating chicken, laughing. He's like, yo, bro, my school popping. School he went to was Sullivan County Community College. He's like, yo, it's popping. They got dorms. To every guy, there's like 3, 4 girls. So I went to school for the women. I didn't go for the film. I didn't go for the photos. I went for the ladies. So as I'm checking what I want to take as my subject, I see communication and media arts. I said, I like film. I like TV.
Mhm.
This is what I want to do because I do have a real love. Like I'm a cinephile. I have a real love for movies and TV. You can ask me questions and I'll just be knowing stuff from like actors to actresses. I won't know anything else, but I'll know that.
Mhm.
So I went to school and I fell in love with it. Once I learned how to do it, learn how to edit. Shout out to my teacher, Mr. Healy, my college professor. He taught me so many great things, and I was just fell in love with it. I fell in love with it so much that at the point, the camera stayed with me at a point when it was like my senior year. It was like, you need the camera, you have to go check in with me because I always had it. I was always doing little films, and I was always I'll start editing. I'll wake up at like 7, 6 in the morning for class, and I'll just be editing. That's how much I loved it.
You gotta love what you do.
Gotta love it. If you don't, then don't do it. It ain't all about the money in that game. I'll tell you that much. It really is about the love.
And from
Amen.
there, so you're in college. You started editing, started connecting. How did you make that leap from college?
So I was a part of a team also called Rockstar Society. Shout out to RSNY. And I kind of jumped back in with them when I done with them in college and promoted some stuff. We had a clothing line. We added film because I was a filmmaker. Laptop messed around, stopped working. So I ended up helping my boy Holly, shout out to H Dollar, learn how to do film. And he became a director. Then they kind of been like, do we really need this guy? Then I kind of went on my own in like 2010. I went on my own and I was doing it by myself. And at that time, from 2009 to about 2015, 16, nobody was asking for videos like that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few people, and the only people who was really making videos, of course, was Trev, and the New Pop. Shout out to the New Pop.
New Pop.
Love the New Pop. That's another thing that also influenced me to keep shooting and to have my own something similar to what they had. Not exactly like them, but like something similar to what I can do at my level of just me doing it by myself. So I was doing it by myself for a little while. Got more into promoting. Started living in the city, partying too much. That was a big problem. Lost probably like a good 3-4 years just off partying alone.
That's when I met you guys. You guys were everywhere. The whole
Yeah,
crew.
but we had a goal back then. That was 2008. So by like 2010 to about 2014, 15, I was just partying. like too much. I became addicted to partying, addicted to drinking. I was just doing all this stuff I wasn't supposed to. But in that time, I got on to everyday people at the same time. So it wasn't like I was just just running around doing bullshit. Like I was actually trying to get out here and work. And I did, but I could have did better and I could have did more, but I didn't. But I don't regret those years because I met a lot of great people that helped me later on in life.
So, are you sustaining yourself through videography,
Oh, you saying that?
photography?
Am I doing it off like a living?
Yes. That's a
Actually,
big question. That's what everybody wants to know. I
I'll
got
tell
asked
you
that
this.
yesterday.
I just pretty much started working with another company, a third party
Mhm.
company called Sideways, and with working with them, I got to work with Duce and Made in America, and that check was very nice.
Nice,
The
nice.
everyday people, stuff is real good too. I can live off it. What is what I'm saying. Especially the fact that I don't live in New York anymore. I live in New Jersey.
Oh, really? I did not know you made that move.
I made that move like 4 or 5 years ago when I was
Okay.
like back in 2015 when I partied myself out and became broke. And what I
Wow.
couldn't live off the at that point was once 2016 hit, I lived off the ever since, like that and other jobs. But I've never worked a regular job since 2009.
Mm.
Like last job I had, I was like, like a normal job was Best Buy, and that was 2009. I was working at Best Buy at like 86 in Lexington, and I was living in Rockaway.
Mm.
Dumbest
Wow.
decision I ever made in my life. That ride was like an hour and 30.
Yes, that's you can't get it much further out in New York City than I mean, there's far in the actual name of the
Yeah.
neighborhood. So, Nunnie, I want to talk to you about. I know you had some challenges creatively, but you also had some physical challenges in the
Yes.
last.
This is the part
Do you
that
want to share what
I
happened?
wanted to share with you
Oh yeah, no
guys.
problem. I like to talk about it a lot because it's Black men's health, and it's really important that we discuss situations like this. So 2019, I had a great year. I was in love. I was making great money. I was flying all around the world with everyday people, doing so many events, doing very well, and I had a nice little book. Then 2020 hit, COVID happened. So I'm just sitting here just doing nothing with myself because nobody you couldn't do much. At the end of the year, I took at the time my girlfriend to Africa. We went to Zanzibar, came back. Me and her had this stupid big fight. I'm stressed. I'm eating so much seafood, and next thing you know, I had a hematomic brain stroke, pretty much like a brain stroke, and that's what I just said. I'm sorry. On December 31st at 6 a.m. and my mom happened to be at my house, and she found me
Wow.
because she wasn't here. If she wasn't here, I would be dead right now.
Wow.
So I ended up dying from that. They brought me back, and then I was in a coma for all of January.
Mm.
I woke up very confused of where I was, because in my dreams I was everywhere but this hospital.
Hmm.
But I knew something was up. I'm like, nah, something's off, because I'm like, who is these people in these hospital gowns touching me up every once in a while in my dreams?
So you were dreaming, like
Yeah.
that's something that it's crazy that this happened to you. But while you were in that state, you're dreaming about what's actually happening around you.
It didn't feel like dreams. It felt like it was real to me. So it didn't feel like a dream. Even to this day, I still think about certain things that I thought about, and I'm not sure or how it was even possible or how I saw it in that way. It kind of became, I feel like I became like super creative almost.
Mm.
But I also lost something in that whole stroke situation. I lost all vision in my right eye.
Oh,
I'm
you
blind
did.
in my
Oh, sorry.
right eye. So, now I'm a one-eye filmmaker. So
Wow.
that's like my new tagline. Like, hire your one-eye filmmaker. I don't tell many employers that unless I need to.
Mm.
Like, if they ask me, I'll tell them, but I don't tell them about, the stroke and everything. I tell them about the stroke more, but I kind of keep the one-eye thing.
Mm.
Like, it's not much of a bother other than the fact that I can't see what's on my right side right now.
Mm.
That's it.
Mm.
But my left side is so good. I can see everything out of my left eye. So, also my birthday's in 2 days.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. How do you say happy advanced birthday?
Happy early birthday. Yeah,
Happy
my
early
birthday.
birthday.
I just really wanted to say that real quick. But I think pretty much what happened was I had high blood pressure. It was at like 250. It was too high. Plus, right time, wrong person kind of situation. I am in my mid 30s, so I don't know if it could have been something with the COVID situation that kind of messed me up, or there is no real thing. Well, they said I had high blood pressure, and they said, because at that time, in 2020, I was eating well, cooking my own meals. Like I wasn't eating. I don't eat fast food anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So when it happened, I was very confused of how, I was drinking too much.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020, we were just buying bottles because we were getting free money in 2020.
That's how it is when you shoot. They give you
Yeah.
stuff.
So one of the things people would like give me and what I would buy obviously would just be bottles of alcohol. And we had nothing else to do but sit on someone's roof and just drink. So,
Mm-hmm.
I could have shot my own. I did. I was actually shooting these very short films.
Right.
And it got some friction, one of the biggest frictions I got, I did one with Boz. Kelly Rowland saw it, and then Kelly Rowland followed me on Instagram. And she hit me and was like, I'm such a fan of your work. I love it. Keep up the good work. And I really like boost my ego and everything. And then I was also just getting paid around that time
Right.
by a couple of people. So I was in it. After that, I was just like throwing videos out like a madman, like every day. And then but because she followed me, a lot of other people just kept hitting my line. Like, can you send this to Kelly? Kelly just followed you. Like, I'm like, yo. But they thought I knew her, so it was a cute situation. She still followed me to this day. Shout out to
So,
Kelly Rowland.
so tell me about. Let's go back a little bit to you coming out of this stroke and getting back into shooting, and how did this change your I guess, creative approach? How did it change just your goals, long-term goals? Did you look at things differently?
Nah, first when I came out, I was super depressed. Shout out to my ex-girlfriend, Shantae, though. She really held me down when I was in the hospital and out the hospital. Shout out to my mom, too. Those are the two women or two people who held me down the most. But me out the hospital, I lost like 60, 70 pounds because they weren't feeding me. That's how I got this tracheotomy right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't really eat solid food. So I was only eating like inshores and pudding for the time that I got out the coma. Even before that, that was it.
Wow.
It wasn't enough. I couldn't even drink water. I was like chewing ice.
Wow.
But when I finally could eat, I went to rehab for about a week. We did that, learned how to walk. I had to learn how to rewalk. I had to learn how to write. Once they pressed this button, I was talking regular again. But it was a real depressing thing for me because I just felt like I was mad that it happened to me and I let it happen to me. So for that to happen, it was just a disappointing situation for me. And I didn't know if I can even get back to doing film and stuff. Every day people didn't give up on me. So shout out to them. I love them so much for that. Sinclair, he called me and we spoke about it. But at that time, I didn't want to talk to nobody about it because I felt so weak, and I felt like it took so much out of me. And one thing you should do is talk to somebody about, those type of situations because, it can really help. Because, I went to therapy for a while and I'm still in therapy right now. And that really helps a lot when we talk about it and what I'm going through and how sometimes, even to this day, I'll have like moments of just like, damn, how the hell did I beat that? And I'm just trying to figure it out and like put things together of how I made it to this point. And I just made it. It's really nothing else to say, but I just worked my tushy off and I got back to being me. I worked on it. It took me. I felt good about it on December 31st, 2021.
Okay.
Once was a year and I still was good. Nothing crazy happened. I went to the hospital probably twice. My pressure was down too low. It was too high type stuff. But once that happened, I was the first and only time in 2021 I got drunk.
Oh yeah.
I was so happy. And I felt fine after. I didn't get too drunk. And even now to this day, I don't drink too much. I drink just enough. I might keep it down under 4 cups, Every once in a while I go over a little bit, but I don't drink. I drink once a week, if that, maybe once every other week or whatever it is. Even if I do, I'm just enjoying the drink, But I don't know if it, like I said, I'm not 100% sure if it is all just the alcohol or just the high blood pressure. But I'll show you. You check your blood pressure with this, and I check it. I take my meds, and I got pretty much 3. Well, it's cut down a lot, so I cut my meds down by a lot. But yeah, no, it's a real thing. Like it still affects me to this day. and we're trying to like figure out things, how to get me off the meds, and try to get back to normal life. I can never go back to 100% normal life anymore, just based off my eye alone. But it's a real scary thing, man. And I hope everybody's taking care of themselves and being healthy, about having health conscience, and not just wilding out. Like I was wilding in 2020, and I'm just like, I'm not even sure if that was even on me. Like, it's just that constant not understanding what really happened. But don't lose yourself in it. Enjoy life. So I just been enjoying life.
I tell you what, Nunnie, because I tell you why I reached out to you. We were planning to do a show based on love and based on passion. And while I was working on this show, I mean, actually what made me think of doing this show was anxiety that I've had over my health. When I came down here from New York City, I also was diagnosed with high blood pressure.
Yeah, that shit's real.
And while in the 2 or 3 weeks before, 2 or 3 weeks ago, last week I had a scare, and I reached out to you and I told you that I had also had a physical incident and a health incident, and it was the same thing. My blood pressure was out of control. I stayed in the hospital for a few days, and while I was in the hospital, I thought about Nunnie because I remembered what happened to you. And I said, I got to reach out to Nunnie because surviving that, it just puts everything in another perspective. But I know we're going to wrap up soon, but I want to talk to, share with us what is it that you have going on, what it is you have coming up, how you maintaining and sustaining, anything you like to tell the folks out there on the podcast.
I mean, I'm alive, I'm happy, I'm loving life. I'm doing it alone, but I'm doing it happily. But I got a few things coming out. I wrote a book.
Oh yeah? Okay.
It's called Dead Ass Facts. Volume 1 is New York City. It's like 100 facts about things that I've acquired in New York. And it's a really fun book. You could read it and laugh about it, And I might have some readings where I have two guys interpret it. One guy reads it normally and one guy reads it in the New York accent, or like in the New York. So
Give me that New York accent. Let me hear it.
So it's like like let's say one thing when somebody's like, excuse my French, of course. Somebody goes, dead ass facts number 4. Bacon, egg, and cheese is one word. Hey yo, Aki, let me get a bacon, egg, and cheese now. Don't put no ketchup on my shit either, my dude. I'll slap the shit out of you, my nigga. All right, keep it easy. Just always threatening me. It's like, yo, let me get the bacon, egg, and cheese, my G. Yeah, aggressively beat non-aggressive. Also, I'm still with everyday people, of course. We still got a couple of parties coming up. We got one for Halloween. We got, like I said, Atlanta, Miami on our way next week. I won't be there though. I got to do things out here. I got some business out here I got to take care of. We'll be in Miami for our Basel. And then
all right. I'll probably try to catch up with you down there.
Yes,
I've been saying I'm going to come I have to check out everyday people. I was looking at those videos. I'm like, I got to get out there.
I'll put you on my list. You're good to go.
All right. There you go. I'm like a few hours drive away now, so I got no excuses.
Yes, this is true.
I didn't make it.
When did you move to Florida?
So I came down in January. So been down here with my folks, actually helping out my family.
Yeah, I think I'm going to tour around America next year. Just make some stops in a few places where people are like, I know that I live in. I have some time off, like from like January to about March, I'm pretty sure. So maybe I'll do it in that time.
All right. Nunnie, thank you so much for spending the time. Stay healthy, stay strong. I'm going to probably be reaching out to you a bunch just to get some advice on maintaining my health. And I hope you do the same.
Yeah, man. You gotta live. You gotta live for long life. That's the goal.
That's the goal. All right, Nunnie, thanks a lot. You're welcome to hang around. I'm going to pump a little bit of music mix for the next 20 minutes or so. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Good luck. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Love you, brother.
All right. Love you too. All right. I shake my head because I went into a whole 20-minute music mix. But wow, what an interview. I actually look at that now and like, I mean, I have interview experience, of course, decades of doing interviews, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I look at that first episode and look at what I'm doing now, and the content is actually not that much different now for them. What's changed is the the production value, the high def, and um, the framing, the whole deal, and dressing the set a bit, and also the theme. I have a consistent theme. I have a segments. I have a flow. I have more confidence in speaking on my own. What I couldn't do back then, I guess the one thing that I couldn't do, because I know how to interview, but I didn't know how to speak on my own, how to hold uh half hour to 1 hour to hour and a half podcast just on my own. That felt like it was a far away thing. And I learned that skill because booking interviews are tough. You know, you have to arrange a time and you have to prepare questions, and then it's just like this. You know, I'm shooting this episode. You know, I didn't plan to do this today. I just said, okay, I got time. I got a couple of hours where I could just kind of put everything together and record an episode, and bam, do it. If it's an interview, you have to kind of work your life around that time slot. So that's allowed me to publish many more episodes. With the interviews, I would do maybe one, well, I would say two a month. With this, I could do multiple to a week. So speaking to the camera on my own allows me to a lot more flexibility. But um, again, shout out to Nunnie. That was such a great episode. We'll put the links again in the show notes. And yeah. Anything else I want to say about that episode? Oh yeah, we also had, so we again, it was a live recording. We had an audience of a few people that were logging in on the Zoom session, and I can't believe I did that. That's the one big failure, you know, having people sit there and listen to my music, including the person I'm interviewing. Like, come on, that's insane that I did that. But it was about the music, and thank bless them for being so patient with me. um, but yeah, I mean that's the 1 year anniversary show. That's it right there. What a great interview. What a great topic. The one other thing I would say is I can't share this episode. I can't share that interview and my testimony without really stressing how important it is to check on your health, to eat right. For me, I think I got the high blood pressure. I believe it's from just too much salt, sodium. Um, I was killing the salt. You know, I would everything. I put soy sauce on everything every day, two, three times a day, just pouring it on. And I had no idea. I had no idea. You hear, this is not good and this is not bad when you're young and you kind of ignore it. So my advice to the young ones out there is those your parents or your friends or whoever telling you to eat right and telling you that this is not right, heed that warning, heed that message, because that's exactly what got to me. And me, listen, I'm an athlete, healthy, fit, and it got me. Same thing with Nani, it got him. And I have other friends who went through the same thing, good friends who I grew up with, who are now went a little bit further and are on dialysis, and I'm fighting not to get there. So pray for me that I can keep it stable and not go there. But we were all young and thinking that you will live forever, and you can't. It all adds up and it piles up, and it eventually catches up to you. So that's a message from me to you. So let's wrap up. We're going to wrap up the show now with a couple of announcements. A couple of announcements here. Once again, support the free shop. Support our free lunches at Miguel's Latin Market. Support us if you can. And if you are a small business looking to connect with your neighbors, scan the QR code and follow the links. Thank you. So thanks again for joining. My name is Trev FM, Spread Love FM. We will be back with another episode in a few days. Once again, enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you all next time.
This microphone and these speakers are designed to amplify my voice, but why me? I have no simple answer. All I can say is, I believe anyone with something to say should be given the chance to speak and to be heard. Well, I have something to say, and I hope you all will hear me. Just remember, there can be consequences for speaking out. I'm forming an all-out assault against systems of oppression.